As a Wrangler owner, if Ineos makes this vehicle available in the US market, it is RIP Jeep, it's RIP Ford. Like, every single off-road vehicle just doesn't compare to what we have behind us. Now, we are filming this video at Warner Ineos. I do need to put some disclaimers at the beginning of the video. First off, this vehicle is just for demonstration, and so we cannot drive this vehicle as much as I would love to see how the Portals perform on road today. Secondly, this vehicle is not available for sale in the US market. The vehicle that I am filming is not available for sale, and if you wanted to go to order one, you can't currently. Now, that might change down the road, but as it stands, this isn't available. So if that changes, I will let you guys know. Of course, I'm a huge fan of the Ineos brand, and so if they bring over the station wagon and truck with the portal axles, you guys will know. Just like the other Grenadiers, this is powered by the 3-liter turbo inline-6 that goes through an 8-speed. It puts out 282 horsepower and then 331 pound-feet of torque. I don't know if they've re-geared this. I can't find anything that says that they have or have not. But this powertrain's known for producing low-end torque. And overseas, they have the diesel version, which Ineos, if you're watching this video, please bring the diesel to the US. Pretty please. I'm trying to hit 500,000 subscribers before the end of the year. I'd really appreciate it if you'd help out with that. Now up top you can see the light pods. This is going to provide a massive amount of illumination off-road, and because they're placed so high, I mean, the path of light that you would get at night would be ridiculous. And then of course it has the signature Grenadier design with the tapered off hood, and then you've got the fenders which pop out quite a bit. You can obviously put checker plates so that you can bear weight on those, but yeah, really cool design. And since it's such a boxy vehicle, having circular lights is great. You still have the regular off-road lights with this, and you can see down below, this particular one also has the winch. I'm wondering if that's going to be standard as part of this portal axle package. Again, not exactly sure on that. But either way, this thing is massive in person. Later in the video, I'm going to park my Wrangler next to it just to give you guys an idea of scale. My Wrangler is on 37s and it's slightly lifted, so like, it's a big vehicle. This thing's bigger. Now our tire and wheel setup is 37 by 12.5 by 18. This one has mud terrain tires, which are actually best for most off-roading. It provides a lot more grip than an all-terrain. You know, you go for the all-terrain like what I've done on my vehicles because you want a little bit more of a squishy ride on-road for daily driving. I will say, the blacked out wheel with the red brake caliper there is a really cool look. And this of course leads us to the suspension. So again, this has portal axles. And if I'm not mistaken, that looks like an adjustable shock, which the regular Grenadier does not have. Again, I owned one for a year. So yeah, this has actually a different setup, which is interesting. Now the lighting with this shot's not great, sorry about that, but you can see with the portal axles, you kind of transfer the axle up, literally, that's why it's called a portal axle, kind of teleports it. But that's what gives you so much ground clearance with a portal axle vehicle. You can see everything is super high up now. If we take a look at the side profile, you can see that extra clearance makes a huge difference. And speaking of huge, this has massive fender flares added to fit the larger tires. Just eyeballing this, I think you could go bigger than 37s. It looks like there's clearance for 38s and perhaps even 39s, maybe even 40s. Again, that's not official, that's just me eyeballing it. We also have these step sliders here on the side, very heavy duty. You can see they're nicely integrated with the fender flares. And taking a look at the rear shock, it looks like that is also adjustable, so that is a big distinction, big difference. Now popping into the back, you still have the double door situation in a very large cargo area. The thing I wanted to note is walking up to this thing, like, just the bumper is, I have super long legs. The bumper is like at waist height. So the point that I'm trying to make is, just like me, you gotta get in the gym and lift heavy stuff, because putting things in the back here, you're gonna have to have some strength. And I'm okay with that. I'm okay with gatekeeping on a vehicle. Like, you know what, some vehicles are just meant for tough people, and this is one of them. This also has an upgraded ladder setup, and I should have probably mentioned a lot of these accessories are from Tech. They're working with Ineos on a lot of things, but you guys can see here, it looks like extra fuel storage, and then the ladder kind of goes around it, so very nice kind of setup there. And then we do have the full-size spare, and it looks like this would still work with the spare storage if you went down that route. No confirmation on that, but there's probably going to be something there. But the biggest thing is the reinforced carrier, so you guys can see that this has all been reinforcing in. It still opens with the swing gate like I showed you guys a little bit earlier with everything opened, and it's actually not heavy at all to actually swing. It has a decent amount of, I wouldn't call it assistance, but it's just good leverage. And let me just give you guys kind of a look around of the exterior. Again, this thing is massive and it looks so cool in person. Some of the proportions with the fender flares to the bumper are a little bit weird. Like the back end is really nicely tapered off. You can see how you go from here to this kind of like little extension over the bumper. And so like you can tell it's an extension, but it folds in pretty nicely. Up front, however, you can see how it just kind of abruptly ends. It's not like the worst thing, it's just noticeable. But all of that aside, this thing, like I said, looks great. Let me pull my Jeep up next to it. A quick overview on my Wrangler. I have 37-inch tall tires on this, which is pretty darn big. Now my Wrangler is an Extreme Recon, but it has the AEV kit, so this is lifted a ½ an inch over the Extreme Recon, which is already lifted quite a bit more compared to a stock Rubicon, which is already lifted compared to a regular Jeep. So the point that I'm trying to make is my Wrangler is tall. This is a tall, high clearance off-road vehicle. This week's giveaway is all about muscle and luxury with two Cadillac V cars. The first of which is a CT5V Blackwing and the second is an Escalade V. Both these have supercharged V8s producing nearly 700 horsepower each. They also have tons of luxury and modern technology to match. Not only can you win both of these cars, but part of the giveaway is also $73,000 in cash to help pay for the taxes, and your donations go to help children's and veterans charities. Use code BHC or click the link in the description down below or in the pinned comment. This will give you 4x bonus tickets on any donation, $25 or more. In fact, I have about 14 inches of clearance, roughly. But the Grenadier with the portal axles has like 17 inches roughly. And you can definitely see the height difference from obviously the overall height, but you just look underneath and everything on the Wrangler hangs significantly lower than what you see with the Grenadier here. I mean, the Wrangler really does look like a pipsqueak next to this Grenadier. It's just crazy the scale of this thing. Next to most regular cars, the Wrangler just towers over them. But definitely not next to the Portal Grenadier. This thing is just on a whole nother level. And this is why I say RIP Jeep and RIP Ford, because there's nothing like this available in the US market currently. And I know some people will bring up the Mercedes G-Wagon 4x4 squared, and I have reviewed two of those, and here's the deal. None of those are ever going to see any type of off-roading. And not only that, but Mercedes puts oversized wheels on those, and so they're not really meant for off-roading, they're meant for mall crawling, whereas the Grenadier from the ground up has been built with the intention of taking it off-road. I mean, one of the main controls here in the center is the transfer case shifter. And then you have a bunch of switches for auxiliary items. You've got your diff locks up front, and yes, this is triple lock just like a G-Wagon. We've got an off-road mode. We have a wading mode as well. Like, just everything with this is built with off-roading in mind. And that's also why they have this more utilitarian interior. The G-Wagon's all about silly luxury, whereas this is all about durability, easy to clean, all of that. I mean, even the floors. Look at the material they're made of. Durable, easy to clean. So yeah, the G-Wagon 4x4 squared exists, but it's insanely expensive and it's all about mall crawling, whereas this, again, just looking at the interior, you can tell is about off-roading, and also looking at the tire and wheel package. Now, one thing to note, all of this does add weight. So again, I don't know how accurate these stickers actually are, so just take this with a grain of salt, because again, this is not an official US vehicle. I gotta say that a million times, just to be clear. But 7,716 pounds is the gross vehicle weight rating, and then this payload sticker right here says 606 pounds. Now, to get the vehicle weight, you typically just subtract the gross vehicle, or the payload, sorry, from the gross vehicle weight rating, which means that this vehicle likely weighs about 7,000 pounds, which doesn't surprise me because I had a Grenadier station wagon, and that with the stock tires that I think are like 31 inches in height weighs about 6,400 pounds. So this with big, heavy 37s that are mud terrain tires weighing 7,000 pounds, yeah, that kind of makes sense. I know I'm gonna get comments on that's too heavy, but it's also just durability difference. Like the Wrangler, listen to this. It's not a bad sound, but these doors are super lightweight. Like, this thing is not a heavy duty vehicle, whereas this, I mean, just look at the thickness of the door itself and just solid. So yeah, something like a Wrangler is going to weigh less, a Bronco is going to weigh less, but they're light duty vehicles. They're meant for crawling, not for long-term durability. Whereas the construction on this is all about long-term durability. So yes, that does add weight, but that means that this vehicle is going to be able to last for hundreds of thousands of miles. So that is going to cap things off with the walk around on the portal axle Grenadier. I'm really grateful that I was able to see this in person and park the Jeep next to it just to show you how much of a giant it is.